All right, could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry we're starting a few minutes late. We ran long, as we sometimes do. Reminder, please silence your cell phones. And this is the first time in the evening that we're, well, let's have a roll call before I do that. She's looking at me, so.
Mrs. Fryrick? Here. Mr. Posnow?
Here?
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Scalette?
Here.
Mrs. Schroeder?
Here.
Mr. Sears?
Here.
Mr. Toman?
Here.
Mr. Watts?
Here.
Now, this will be the first time of the evening that we open for public comment. Please bring all comments and questions addressed to me. The board and staff members will not normally respond to comments or questions, and we will limit them to 5 minutes or less. If you have any comments, please stand up, state your name and address, and
I'm Dick Raw, and I live at 2401 Cambridge Road in Spring Township. Congratulations to the music department for the 9 students who were at the part of the York County Honors Band. They performed well, and my youngest granddaughter also had the opportunity to be a part of that, and also a young man from my church who got a scholarship as a result of being there. So very, very significant performance, and congratulations to you all. I've noticed a large number of cars parked in the circle in front of the high school after they'd probably come from church on Sunday morning. I'm wondering who is using the venue at this time.
We'll have to get that information.
Or
Township
on Sunday,
basketball?
on Sunday? Or
Sunday mornings. Like we come home from church maybe 12:30 or so, and all the cars are parked there. I'm just curious.
no idea. We'll find out for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Other comments?
My name is Sid Purdy, and I come here tonight to ask for some attention and help for a problem we have. I live on the corner of Midland Avenue and Hillcrest Road at 791 Hillcrest Road, directly across from the newer alternate sports field. The Midland Avenue entrance appears to be the primary gate to enter this field in the evenings and all weekend. So anyone using this field parks in the Midland Avenue neighborhood and enters the field using the gate the majority of the time. Unless there is a school event, they are charging a fee to attend. I have no problem with children using the resources at the school, but I do have a problem when I constantly have to pick up the garbage that is left behind by those individuals using the field, a near everyday occurrence. I have to pick up paper and food garbage from fast food restaurants, donut boxes, banana and fruit peels, soda cans, sports drink, plastic bottles, alcoholic beverage bottles, etc., left behind. I get constant trash left by those parking on the street in front and just dumping their garbage out in my yard. Trash blowing over from the school onto my property, and the trash left on the school property making the surrounding property to mine look trashy. The school district provides absolutely no trash can at the Midland Avenue entrance exit. I realize a trash can at this exit is not going to solve the problem completely, but I would guess some of the individuals would be courteous enough to use a trash receptacle for their garbage rather than throw all of it on the ground. My understanding was that some type of custodial maintenance services would be provided surrounding this field, and that is not happening. I, as a taxpayer and responsible school neighbor, am requesting that some type of garbage can be positioned at the gate opening and some school staff come by and clean up the garbage that is left on the school property. I take pride in my property, and being a good neighbor, I am only asking the school district to do the same.
Thank you.
Is there someone I can leave this with?
Board Secretary.
Yep.
Yeah, there's,
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you. Other comments?
Hello. My name is Nicole McCleary. I live at 1540 Dunster Road. In light of the violent incidences and threats to our schools, both nationally and locally, I'm wondering what the school board is planning on discussing, implementing, anything of that nature to make the York Suburban School District a safer place for our students. I think most reasonable people can assume at this point that the status quo in most schools is no longer acceptable. So I was wondering if tonight or in writing in the future, if you can inform me or the rest of the parents in the district that I know are concerned.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you have before you minutes of the Planning Committee meeting of February 12th, 2018, and the regular monthly meeting of January 22nd, 2018. Can I have a motion for accepting those minutes?
So moved.
Second? And we can, I don't think we need a roll call vote on that, do we?
Nope.
Okay. Mr. Sears?
Okay, we have a consent agenda as usual, so would any board member like any of the items considered separately, or are there any questions on any of the items? If not, the chair moves approval of the below mentioned items.
second.
Okay. Ms. Mason, we can have a short roll call vote on this.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you. Dr. Philip J. Avillo, Jr., who was a former board member, died on February 17th of this year. In recognition of his 12 years of service to the York Suburban School District, with 7 as president, it's recommended that the following resolution of sympathy and respect be adopted and spread amongst the minutes of the board meeting, and that a copy be forwarded to his family. And specifically, it is the York Suburban School Board and Administration express their profound sorrow in the passing of Dr. Philip J. Avillo, Jr. on February 17, 2018. His 12 years of dedicated service and loyalty as a member of the Board of School Directors from 1982 to 1993 will long be remembered by students, staff, parents, board members, and residents of the York Suburban School District.
So moved.
Second.
You can have a short vote on that.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you. The board met following the Planning Committee meeting of February 12, 2018 in executive session as permitted by Section 707 of the Sunshine Act for the purpose of discussing matters of personnel and real estate. No official action was taken. The board met on February 19, 2018 in executive session as permitted by Section 707 of the Sunshine Act for the purpose of discussing matters of personnel. No official act was taken. And the board met this evening to a conference board session as permitted by Section 707 of the Sunshine Act for the purpose of providing information to members on matters directly related to their official responsibilities. No official action was taken. I would like to speak briefly about the new superintendent search. We have begun moving forward in the process. We've had a record of 29 applicants in the process. We are going through and determining candidates to be interviewed to move forward. We expect to be on time and have a new superintendent in place by the start of July. And with that, I think that's the end of my report. Dr. Redding.
Okay, included in the handouts is the monthly enrollment report. As was requested previously, we have grouped our cyber and charter enrollment. This is our, while this report's up, I'll just point out the 5th grade enrollment per class over at East York, and thank the board for providing us some relief as it relates to additional paraprofessionals to help us get through the rest of the school year with those large class sizes. And certainly that is part of where the recommendation has been on addressing in our budget process some of those needs as it relates to our K-5 enrollment. The other handout attached is the one I started to talk about, and that's the cyber school report. And as I mentioned, we have broken those down and provided the cyber separately, the charter separate, and then because the district is a member, loosely stated, part of the York Academy, looking for a word, chartering district, yep, chartering district, thank you, Brooke. That those numbers are shown separate. I would also point, the question has come up as to enrollment, projected enrollment in kindergarten for next year. Thus far, we have 88 students, or actually parents, who have completed or started the registration process. 77 of those have completed it, with 37 scheduled for Valley View and 40 scheduled for Yorkshire. And we have 11 families that are pending the process. So I don't know how that compares to a point in time, but because of our online procedures, parents are pecking away at getting all the paperwork completed for new student enrollment. And we'll continue to keep the board updated on that. Next item on the agenda
Before you
is...
go on, Dr. Redding,
Sure.
could I ask a question? Do you roughly the number of, out of this 119 total, how many are non-special and how many are special ed? Roughly?
Oh, boy.
I'll have to, I'll have to get back to you. I don't have that information handy.
Any other questions on that? Okay.
On the road, if we could be updated on how we're doing as far as bringing any of these back into the fold.
Okay. Item B on the agenda is the request based on a follow-up report that was provided at the planning meeting, and the board, the administration is recommending the board implement a district-operated autistic support program for the intermediate level, which is grades 3 to 5, starting with the 18-19 school year.
Second.
Other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make just a comment from my position on this. You know, the LIU, however everybody, you know, how we feel about it, that's one thing. I know that there's been some issues with their billing that we've been, you know, hoping to see that get straightened out. But they've been doing it for a long time. One of my biggest concerns with implementing this class is we potentially put ourselves in the position of selecting. And kind of the scenario that I had put forth 2 weeks ago, in that if we have 2 children moving out of that intermediate 3 through 5 class and 4 children moving out of the second grade trying to get into that, we don't have a process or system well defined as to who those 2 children would be, why that would be, you know, so we get ourselves into a pinch of really making that selection. And I mean, I'm not supporting this.
Your comments?
For similar reasons and a couple others. The first is just that I think that we're undermining the mission of the IU when we take these classes back, and that there's possibly some other information that we're missing when we as a district decide that we want to recapture kids from our district. I understand the emotional reasons to do that, but I think there's more to it than that. We have an IU system for a reason. more districts pull these kids back in, that makes it much more difficult for the IU to be competitive, and eventually it's going to die under that kind of pressure. So for that reason, I don't think we've had a compelling enough reason to accept this proposal.
Other? Mason, could we have an individual voice vote?
Sure. Watts?
No.
Tillman?
Yes.
Sears?
No.
Robinson?
Yes.
Scolette? Schrader?
Yes.
Posnow?
Yes.
Sanders?
No.
Fryrick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item on my agenda is a public announcement about a special meeting we're going to have in this room tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. I plan to start with the agenda item that was shared on January 22nd with the music department as it related to a draft that administratively we discussed, and then work through some of the concerns that have been voiced by different groups as it relates to the music program. Certainly, there are no recommendations to change curriculum, cut the curriculum. We have looked administratively at when fourth grade lessons are provided, and we now can verify that all fourth grade lessons would be inside the student day. So we'll go through those facts with the group tomorrow evening in a special session. And then next on the agenda is an opportunity for Mr. Henry, our technology director, to provide an overview. Again, I think from the standpoint of the types of technology resources we have, and as we work our way through the budget to have a sense of all of those pieces that are there. I asked Mr. Henry if he would share some of that with the board, and he's prepared to do that for us and answer any questions we might have on the technology budget or the technology plan. So, Mr. Henry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Redding.
Cue up the...
I just wanted to go over with you briefly what we're doing, and instead of immediately going and focusing on my budget, and to me, the whole purpose of my budget is really just to support, you know, what we're doing as a school district and instructionally. So I wanted to start a little bit with focusing on just exactly what we do instructionally. The way our classrooms operate really has changed quite a bit over the last 10, 20 years. And many of the resources that we now use are online resources. I listed a few of them up here on our for student page. You can see just a large number of online resources. Some of those we pay for, some of those are free. And the teachers are using these extensively in class. The G Suite is the old Google Suite, which you guys use. All of you are actually using Chromebooks here, which are that web device. It's not a full-blown computer. It's designed to support online applications. And that suite of products is a key to what they're using in each classroom. Google Classroom, Schoology, I'm going to talk about a little bit more. But I wanted to give you a picture of all those different items. One of the things I wanted to do is I thought maybe it'd be good if you can pull up the presentation, or even if you want to just open another tab. I wanted to show you, have you heard of Kahoot? If you have students in here, do you use Kahoot?
I love Kahoot.
Well,
Link.
as I very late. As a good picture, I wanted to give you a little opportunity to experience Kahoot. So, if you click on, if you have the presentation open, if you
We don't have a link to it, I don't think.
it's actually, it's, in the presentation, I actually made the Kahoot icon a link. If you click on the technology update,
Doesn't seem to be
We don't have a
live.
link.
We don't have a link, it's just, they didn't.
I do. Oh, I do.
Technology plan.
Yeah. And then if you click on the
On
Kahoot,
the technology plan, I actually put a PDF in there,
that works.
and then,
I'm not even using computer now.
Well, I don't see it.
now as I was explaining that, of course,
I have,
There's a link to tech program.
On the, yeah, I'm not seeing it
Oh, I'm
on.
not logged in, that's why.
Refresh it.
I'm not logged in.
oh,
Just refresh it, refresh
Yes, I
your
did.
screen.
well, I didn't want you to have it too early.
You're okay, you got Kahoot, don't touch anything, you're where you need to be.
No, I get it.
Lovey, you're where you need to be.
Now it's,
Okay,
yep,
yeah.
now it's live, okay. Refresh,
Then like, wait
refresh.
until 10 minutes, then the meeting starts, put the link in.
Do that all the time.
Yeah.
I download them all whenever you want.
Mhm. It's so much fun.
Every Kahoot.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
on Sunday, Monday, there's
There you go, now you're into Kahoot.
where links, there's the lines under something.
Do we have to put a game pin in?
It's like in the
I have to
seconds.
click
don't know
this
if she's
button
mine.
for you
It's
first.
over something.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Thank you.
So put that number
So
in.
here's your game pin. I decided to switch machines right at the last second, just to keep life interesting for myself.
Are you interested?
And you didn't have to put in your name, it hits the little button to say spin, and you can enter your name. And I'm just going to start. This is Olympic trivia. Does everyone know Elizabeth Sweeney?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
She became very popular because of one of these answers. On your screen, you'll have symbols and colors, and you just have to pick the matching symbol and color.
She didn't perform any tricks.
And just click on the picture on your screen. And yes, in fact, she did not perform any tricks on the half pipe.
Ty was Skelett in 12th place.
Jen is in first place here. And I should have practiced the name here. Why was Esther Adeka a surprise after winning gold in the Super G? And what I try to demonstrate here is this actually is a YouTube video embedded in here, which has
It
the
was a second
answer,
event, it was a totally different event, I think.
but you can actually show videos and everything right within it.
She won gold in ski
And yes, in fact, she's a snowboarder,
Snowboarder, thank you.
so she was participating outside her sport. She borrowed skis too.
That's what I was looking for.
I know that.
Which, I try not to make them too difficult.
A lot for all of you
Remember your
people.
audience.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I heard him along there, look at that. Yes, in fact, the USA won the Olympic hockey. And who had the most gold medals in the Olympics?
Norway. Norway did. Yes. Mhm.
So, yes, all good here is our gold medal winner. So anyway, I just wanted to go through this quick, just to give you an idea. This is a very popular assessment thing that teachers do. This was, you know, a light social question, but I hope you can see how they can actually put videos in here, put in stories, and, you know, have the students provide feedback. It's another one of those great things where, you know, if you ask everyone to raise their hand, you get one answer. Where if everyone has their own device and they all answer, then you get to identify who really knows the content and who doesn't. Thank you for your participation. On back to the ever more mundane things, though. I gave you a printout. Schoology is our learning management system. It's where we keep all of our online resources related to the classroom. And this is an actual Spanish class, and you can see how they have links to like the syllabus and stuff. They have folders in here for each of the units, so that all the resources for that unit's questions. You see the little puzzle piece? That's actually a quiz or a test. So they can actually do their testing and assessment right within this program as well. I looked at the statistics here for this year, and from August, we've had nearly 3 million page views from students, parents, and staff. 450,000 visits. Most of those are students, as you would expect. The next, of course, the staff. But we also have over 3,000 parents that have at least, at some point, not 3,000 parents, at least 3,000 visits by parents to actually, see how their students are doing in class. Just wanted to kind of give you, that's what we're getting to, those pieces. And how we get there are through our technology equipment. And we do the one-to-one take-home program in grades 7 through 12. I believe most of you know that. This year we finished out the grade 1 and 2 to have one-to-one in class, where every student has a device, but they don't take it home. They do take it from class to class. And at the kindergarten, we just have 6 tablets right now. In addition, of course, every classroom has a projector. We have wireless connectivity to a lot of those, and smart boards. There's a lot of other technologies in the classroom as well. One of the questions that I was anticipating, and something I wanted to cover with you, was just what are we doing to actually maintain this take-home program for the students? From 7 to 9, we have 1,425 Chromebooks that are out there right now. We have a protection program that parents optionally can participate in. They can pay $20 a year, and then it's a deductible program if there is any physical damage to the unit. Anytime a machine fails, of course the district handles that, but the parents and the students are responsible if they've been physically damaged. Then we offer that program to help defray the cost. So have about 58% of the students' parents are actually participating in that program. From that this year, we had 98 billed deductibles where the people had the protection plan, and we actually charged them. Some of those are seconds because we tend to have some high flyers there. But on that, we have an escalating deductible is the other thing that we do, where, each time it costs, like $15 is your first, and then $25, $35. So every time you do it, you have to pay a little bit more. We had 71 repairs to damaged machines that actually were not insured. Our media centers at the secondary buildings are that hub that we, if there's a problem or something, they go to the media center. They have loaners and everything that if there is a problem, the student can drop their machine off. We've migrated, and we're actually stationing at the high school now every day. At the beginning and at the end of the day, I have someone assigned there, and we're actually doing all the service right in the media center, so that we have that person there that when the students are most available, that's before school, and they have flex period at the end. During those times, we actually have someone there to work with them to minimize the amount of time that they have to be without their machine. This is my budget for this coming year. I have $160,000 in replacement equipment. Most of that is going to be those Chromebooks for grades 1 and 7. As those students move up, we're going to be replacing some older machines in our 3 to 5 buildings. Each of those early students will carry theirs forward. The seniors' machines they have the opportunity to purchase them at market value, or with the protection program we do offer them, if they have 4 consecutive years, we can actually consider that the purchase of those. So that's 499 units, and again, a few other pieces of equipment there I'm not really going to highlight too much. One of the pieces is we actually have no what's new equipment or additional equipment in the budget this year. It's all strictly replacement for what we have out there right now. We've been talking about some of the network upgrades and things that we're doing. We have $82,000 in next year's budget for replacing our servers. We don't run physical servers for every server anymore. We have virtual ones, and we have 3 that really run most of the servers in the district. Those are about 8 years old now. And so we're actually upgrading those, backup server, some miscellaneous other hardware equipment. As you can see, a bulk of our budget goes towards supplies and fees. Most of that is actually in subscriptions and maintenance on those programs. I talked about those online resources, and there's a list of some of the instructional most of the instructional resources that we fund out of the technology budget, and then some of the administrative ones as well. The disclaimer at the bottom is just an explanation of just what that object is. If you see up in the corner there, Object 650, the Finance Committee, familiar with function object accounting, I'm giving you these by those objects, and they keep messing with me, so sometimes I have to put a definition on there, exactly what it is. Here's the total budget. We have $551,393, which is $1,393 over what I told you I thought it would be. Here's how that breaks down. 32% of that are those subscriptions and stuff. Replacement equipment is about 30%. The rest is going into that communications, our telecommunications, our internet service, and really just maintaining those general infrastructure pieces. And I believe I just listed here some of the things that we have on the docket for this summer. Again, some of those are related to the things you'll see coming up in the agenda to approve the purchase of that equipment. We have to do some wiring for the new access points. We're putting access points in our final 3 buildings so that we have new 802.11 AC Wave 2 for any geeks access points throughout the district. And again, some miscellaneous other upgrades that we're doing. Does anyone have any questions?
As a matter of fact. But I think it's probably not for you, Mason.
It's his presentation.
Why are we, I'm looking for the right word, why are we billing you for what I would consider academic costs? 32% of your budget is licensing for academic programs. Why are we billing technology for that and not academics?
We are reviewing that and examining that, and I believe once we have our new administration in place with our curriculum person and all of those, that was something that was under discussion and was actually kind of slated to be revised for this year. At the beginning of this year, we decided just not to shake things up too much.
You would have support here.
Oh, yes.
I believe what you will see next year, again, as we continue to change players, is hopefully we see that much more assigned directly to, it was one of those things where the history is we had software and it had to come to technology to buy software. We needed approval from it, so you managed the money. Those software purchases changed to online subscriptions, and it just didn't get switched around. Anything else?
I'm in support of moving it, by the way. Yes.
As am I.
And so was I.
Other questions?
It was just, the process is...
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Want to provide some time for our 2 administrators, Jen Fazek and Dr. Moniz, to provide, who wants to go first?
Hello. Oh, sorry. Unfortunately, I am not, you're sitting right there. Dr. Krauser and have a cute little acronym or something ready to go. He's too cute sometimes. But we do have some great things happening at the
at the middle school. We just had our musical, if you were able to come and join us. We did Peter Pan Jr., and the students did an absolutely fabulous job, the cast and the crew. It was engaging, it was well thought out, it was well planned, and it was a great time for all involved. We've been taking opportunities to enjoy the beautiful weather that we've had, minus the rain, but it hasn't been snow, and we're looking at our first full week of school, so we've been spending some time refocusing the students, that even though that weather is turning around and it's getting to be a little bit warmer, that we still have a ways to go. We're not near finished, we're not even in the last quarter yet, and we have PSSAs that are coming up. So the students are doing well, acclimating to that new change. I'm not sure by Wednesday or Thursday just how well they'll be doing at a full 5 days, because it's been since January since I think that they've had a full 5 days. So it's a great time in the middle school, and we're looking forward to moving into those PSSAs.
Thank you. Dr. Moniz?
I presented earlier this month about Valley View, but we continue to do new and exciting things. It's still February, so it's still Kindness Month at Valley View. We had a rocking assembly today with Ryan the Bugman, who brought bugs from all over the world, and at the end, students were able to walk past and pet a tarantula and a scorpion. Ryan the Bugman's message was this, that insects are not out to harm us, they're out to help us. So that message was heard loud and clear at Valley View today. We are also doing our reading week. This week today was favorite hat day, so we had a lot of Dr. Seuss hats on around our buildings. Tomorrow is Silly Sock Day.
And isn't Friday Read Across America Day? Yeah. Dr. Seuss birthday.
Across America Day.
I'd like to extend my compliments to the middle school musical as well. I watched it, and the amount of effort was clear, was so tremendous, and the actual product is excellent.
Business office report, Ms. Mason.
Thank you. First item, the administration recommends board approval of the proposed York Adams Academy 2018-19 general operating budget.
So moved.
Any discussion? Short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. This next item, the administration recommends board approval of the proposed Lincoln Intermediate Unit 2018-19 general operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? We can do short.
Just a reminder, what is the rationale for that reduction? It's pretty significant. Glad to see it. I'm just curious to know what the background is.
That was in the synopsis that they gave to us.
They're drawing down a fund and using, I don't think I have that
I'm
with
bringing
me.
it up.
That's the right direction, though.
They are reducing the district's contributions to that as a 16-year low, with a reduction of $200,000 in 2018-19 as compared to the prior year, or a 26.37 reduction, with a total district-wide funding of $558,543. It just says that they're reducing it based on what they're continue to do internally. Their exact words is they're exemplifying their commitment to focus on entrepreneurial activities.
Okay. Other questions? You can do a short roll call vote on that.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval of the letter of agreement with the Lincoln Intermediate Unit for Title I non-public programs and services is to be changed from a 1-year agreement to a 5-year agreement. We're doing this with federal regulation changes going into effect. It was determined that having the 5 years mentioned in the accompanying cover letter that was with the 1-year agreement was not sufficient. The actual agreement had to be a 5-year agreement.
A motion?
So moved. Second.
Do the short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval of the 2-year agreement with Substitute Teacher Services. Service STS is what they'll be referred to moving forward, beginning July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2020. This agreement is for per diem substitute teacher days at a district bill rate of $145.20 per substitute teacher day. This service will assume all of the duties the district currently handles for substitute teachers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, questions? Okay, I guess you can do a short roll call vote.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval of Health Equity to be the health savings account vendor. The cost will be $250 per account per month with a balance waiver starting at $2,500.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Short.
I would like to follow up. There was a question asked at the Finance Committee if we could get a number of participants that Health Equity deals with. They deal with 34,000 plus employers. This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval of the amendment to the SaaS software license agreement with Skyward, Inc. for a 3-year period beginning July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. This will hold the rates for 3 years at $375 for the school business suite, $2 for the support for the school business suite, and $2 for true time. This is a software used by the district for all finances, which includes payroll. Total cost per year is based on an October 1 student enrollment number.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do an individual vote on this.
Schrader?
Yes.
Posnow?
Yes?
Sanders?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Watts?
Yes.
Scolette?
Yes.
Sears?
Yes.
Toman?
Yes.
Fryrick.
Yes.
The next 2 items, the next 3 items, G, H, and I, I'm lumping together. It's the approval of purchases for technology equipment that was put out for bid and now moving forward. First item is switches. Second item is Primus cable and connectors from KIT Communications. Third item being the agreement for Sophos UTM annual licensing.
So moved.
Second. That's up there. Let's have an individual vote on that as well.
Okay, Sears?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Fryrick?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Scolette?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Toman?
Yes.
Watts?
Yes.
Posnow?
Yes.
The administration recommends board approval for settlement of the tax assessment appeal litigation for tax parcel 4600JJ D0-0000 located at 2905 East Market Street in Springersbury Township, York County, PA, owned by Home Depot USA for a total assessed value for tax years 2015 through 2018 as follows. What this means on these 4 years is there's no refund for tax years 2015 or 16. For 2017, we will refund $15,833.65 off of the base amount. And for 2018, based on the current millage and assessment, they would pay $136,497. district administration are authorized to take all necessary steps to effectuate the settlement and to resolve this pending tax assessment appeal case.
So moved. Second.
We can do a short roll call vote on this, I think.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval for John M. Olweiler Jr. to be exempt from paying real estate taxes for the property located at 2590 Hartford Road, York, PA, as approved by the Pennsylvania State Veterans Commission. This would take effect for the 2018-19 fiscal year, which would be a decrease in real estate tax of $3,325.52 at the current millage rate with no homestead exemption.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? This can be a short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends board approval of the bid for new band uniforms to Stanberry Uniforms in the amount of $32,500 for 65 uniforms.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? This can be a short roll call vote.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. The administration recommends the board authorize the Information Technology Department to make purchases up to $125,000 for equipment, educational software services, or subscriptions, subject to the following. I will not read all of the bullets.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have discussion?
Can we legitimately say the information presented to us earlier is the line items that we're allowed to make these purchases on?
Yes.
Or is this different? Okay, thank you.
And let's do an individual.
Okay. Watts?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Sears? Robinson?
Yes.
Scolette? Schrader?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Fryrick?
Yes.
Posnell?
Yes.
The administration recommends the board approve authorized purchasers to make purchases up to $2,000 for any one student activity fund activity and to sign any corresponding contract for purchase subject to the following. And the bullets are listed there as well.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Be a short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. Items O, P, and Q, I've lumped together. These are all contracts for the high school for different events that they have coming up both this year and next year.
So moved.
Be a discussion? Questions? Yeah.
So, how do we decide that we're gonna spend money for lights and sound on the musical? Who authorizes that, since there's clearly no way to actually approve that at this point, since it's going to happen on Friday? And the vendor's already performing work. So when does that decision get made that we are going to spend money outside to run our sound and lights?
I was not part of that discussion, but I can tell you this is a student activity account. So that one would have been, the advisor would have gone to the principal.
Okay.
That's the process that happens with student activity, both at high school and middle school. The advisors of the groups would go to the administrator of that building.
So we aren't funding it if it's a student activity account?
That is correct.
The ticket sales offset the cost of the program.
So along those lines, the piece that we just approved for the bulk purchase by authorized would take care of this in the future?
Yes. Yes, this is,
Okay.
this is a perfect example
Oh.
of that.
Yeah, okay.
Goes without saying that a musical's gonna have some expense, so.
Running the sound does not seem like one that should be required. Yeah. We have a sound system that's very extensive, and paying someone to operate it when you probably have, 10 or 20 kids in a school that would do it, just to ask them, seems ridiculous to me. They didn't pay for sound at the middle school because they have volunteers.
I don't know how it's working. I know students are working with FNP for it. I don't know why they did an extra cost for sound and all this lighting and everything, but I know students run it.
Are there extra microphones, wireless mics that are part of the rental? Okay.
Asked tonight. I'll
Yeah.
be going back there. So.
For dress rehearsal?
Yeah, came from there, going back.
Yeah. We can follow up on what that.
Did we have a motion? I think we did, yeah. So this can be a short,
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes. Informational, I handed out the budget update. The items that are highlighted are the changes from the last report you saw. So in the 2018-19 column, the 3.2 million and the 600,000 are up from the last report, and it's because our collections are up. Our EIT is up, according to the director at the Bureau. Ours will continue to go up. So there's something happening in our area that's bringing more wages in, which is a good thing for us. If you also look to your left, the 17-18 estimate column, you'll see that column is also higher than our budget column. Just kind of keep that in mind, because as we get to the last page, you'll see how that ties in here. The 158,000 increase is about 18,000 from the last report, and that is because we put, as Mr. Henry talked tonight about the insurance, we have a number in there for next year now. If you flip the page, the increases on the state column are because of the governor's budget. We feel very comfortable putting his numbers in, and they probably will be adjusted up again once PDE does their final ADM numbers. And then, of course, Social Security and retirement change each report, because as we work through the budget, our salary numbers change, so therefore the revenue number changes for Social Security and retirement, since it's tied to that as well. Federal dollars, everything's the same. So if you go to the last page of revenue, if you look between the budget for 2017-18 and the estimate for 2007-18, we're up about almost $890,000 in our collections in revenue right now, and the bulk of that is coming from our local revenue. Okay? If you flip to the next page, which starts the expenses, our salaries have changed from last time because of accounting for retirees and also for new positions. So that number has gone up. So again, based on salaries, all of the following benefits change. So those increases there are based on the salaries above. If we drop down into the 300s, all of those number changes are due to reclasses, and the bulk of the reclass being, now that we have a final price on the Wonders program, that's being split out between books, professional development, and technology. If we turn the page to look at, the increases or the changes on the 500s, transportation was a slight increase because of fuel. We got our final hedge on fuel, so we were able to adjust that number. Advertising has gone down because of the implementation of Frontline, with our, recruitment and hiring process that will go into place there. Travel is just up slightly based on, changes that we're making, as we go through and finalize the budget, which, this is a good place to interject. The question also came up at the finance meeting about looking at the numbers that were set aside for the board, for the NSBA conference. The total budgeted for the board between travel and conference attendance is $7,500. You will need if everyone does go to the conference, you'll need approximately $6,700 to cover all of your registration fees, which leaves about $800 left for travel. Your travel's going to be more than that if everyone goes separately. If you go collectively, it would be less, but my suggestion would be if, to make sure you're all covered, that there's be additional money put in to your budget.
You're telling us to be frugal.
I would prefer that, yes, but, I know everyone operates on a different schedule, but it was brought up that, this was something the board had to discuss, and I felt this was the place to.
Well, I think it's practical to consider that we would, be able to travel collectively, just from a logistics, and as you mentioned, everybody's schedule is different.
Mm-hmm.
With, a nod to the finance folks, would it not be appropriate to put some more money in there, and then if we didn't spend it all, that would be all the better?
And that's the only conference you attend?
Well, unless you have PSBA in the fall. Usually we have some registrations. Now, this 6,700 is only registration, am I correct?
That is correct.
That doesn't include the hotels.
I was told not to include hotels. I was told to just look at registration and travel because it's close enough that commuting would be involved.
How much do we have in here for hotels? Is that
what I gave you is what there is.
That's 6,700. Well, that's not going to be
7,500 total.
7,500 total.
I can't see if that's going to be enough. If you go to Philadelphia and you're going to stay overnight a couple of nights, or we want to have people going to PSBA. I don't think $7,500 is going to cover.
Without being held to it, how many people are going? Or interested in going?
What,
to this?
National?
Yeah.
Well,
Philadelphia.
I'd like to go, but I think that's putting people on the spot a
Well,
little bit.
we're just trying to get, why would we increase
If you ever want to
it
go,
if
this
two
is the
people
time
are going?
to go. It's right in our backyard.
Or I think, having gone, just to put a bug in your ear, that you'd be surprised
go.
at the opportunities and the, things that you would see. I mean, it's worthwhile. I would certainly not want, something to stand in our way of the possibility of going. It's time well spent.
It kind of looks like funds are there, I think.
Well, I would
individual, registration.
Last year's registration was $740.
How many days is it?
It's usually Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to noon, isn't it?
Yeah,
Give or take.
Monday is typically not,
It's
they changed
done
it
in-
so that it's conceivable to do it on the weekend, and then time from work isn't, missed.
What's the date on it?
Be the first weekend in April of 2019, I'm guessing, because this year is the 7th to the 9th of April, so somewhere in that time frame. Am I correct, Lois, saying it usually is
I-
about
I
the same?
Wouldn't want to be held, I mean, it's easy enough to look it up.
Yeah, you can look up NSBA for 2019.
But again, I mean, I think it'd be nice as it gets closer and, you know, people do more research on it to have the money there and not have to make a commitment, you know, a year ahead. Oh, I didn't raise my hand at that meeting last year, so.
March 30, April 1st.
Okay. It's about that same time. And we also have, you know, PSBA. Usually have one or two people that like to go to that in the fall, and that's another registration and maybe some mileage, even if you don't stay overnight, up at Hershey. But, I think if you're gonna, if you have any interest and you wanna know what, you know, what NSBA is all about, this is the time to do it, where we don't have all of, you know, the numerous hundreds of dollars in plane fare and things like that.
Right,
This
and I
is right in our
agree,
backyard.
and certainly for the newbies on the board to have that opportunity to be exposed to what goes on a national level. I mean, it was amazing to me, the things that I learned, and really it's charging your batteries and getting an idea of what can be done elsewhere and ideas that can be brought back here to better the school district. I mean, I'd like to see some more money put in
Yeah, I
just
would
so
too.
that
Absolutely, because the
everyone
networking
has
is,
the opportunity to go. I mean, no one went this year thinking that next year is going to be the opportunity to be able to, you know, go, sort of en masse to be able to go.
On that basis, I'll go and I'll drive.
Well, can the finance committee look at that? Thank you.
Okay, so if we go over to the last page, and this also answers another question that came up at finance. If you look at the estimate column for 2017-18, if you go down to change in fund balance, we're actually showing a positive right now of a 1.3 million. If you look to that column to the left, we were planning on using 923,000 out of fund balance. So we're to the positive right now without touching fund balance. And that's why I said hold that thought on the revenue, because that revenue piece alone, we gained almost 900,000. Where we gained the rest of it was the holiday for the insurance. We gained 1.7 million there. So that essentially is why we did not use the 923,000 that we had thought we were going to use in the budget. Both of those questions were asked during finance as well, as to what we were going to save on the holiday and what was the money that we had that we were going to use from the fund balance. So with that in mind, we're saying then that next year with the current 2.4, it's now 2.4, remember, my gap changes every time I change the budget. It was 2.3 at finance, it's 2.4 now. If we did nothing and used fund balance, we still would have a fund balance, albeit very little, but we would have a little bit of a fund balance left. And then everything to the right is just assuming everything's status quo with the exception of salary, because we already know what those increases are based on contract. So this is the snapshot as of today. Any questions? Any questions on the food service dining report or the sales report? That concludes my report.
One quick question on the collections for York Adams Tax Bureau. Any sense that that is going to continue, or this is just kind of a bubble effect? Maybe their collection efforts are resulting in prior year collections that we may not necessarily continue?
These aren't even delinquents, they're current.
They're current, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Ms. Atkins?
All right, so I have shirts for everyone from our mini fund. Those are for you.
Thank you.
Plenty here, so take one.
Thank you.
So I have those because our mini-thon was on Friday. I know I said all throughout the year that our goal was $80,000. which I thought, even as finance chair, I thought that was pretty high. We were honestly just trying to break even with our goal, or our total last year of $70,000. But we did finish with a net of $85,720. Yeah, so we're really, really excited about it, and that every penny of it goes to Four Diamonds, so we're so happy. We had 530 students attend, which is over 60% of our student body, which is amazing. And we had over 90 chaperones. They were teachers and parents. They were so helpful. Amazing custodians who stayed all through the night. Helen Heidler from Whitson stayed almost the entire night to provide food for the students. And our total over the past 5 mini-thons has been $289,000. So just to compare, yeah, it's amazing. Just to compare to last year's numbers, we had a 20.5% increase in participants from 440 students to 530, and then a 21% increase in the amount of money we raised. So it was a really, really successful night. We're so happy about it, and Mr. Whiteley just wanted to extend his thanks to you and let you know that he was incredibly happy with the night, and how much and all that the student body is capable of. And so we already have our countdown to the 2019 mini-thon going, of course. He started the day out, 365 days, but
Where will you be, though?
I'll be in Denmark. But yeah, we're so excited. Carter Fry made a video recapping the mini-thon, and then he was also commenting on the shooting in Parkland and the recent local threats in schools in York. And the video included an interview with Dr. Ellis and his view on the safety of our school district. And then it ended with just some shots of our mini-thon and how strong we are as a school district. So I would definitely recommend you checking out the video.
If I could ask a question. This is all quite amazing, and I wonder if you could say for the community what Mini-Thon is.
So Mini-Thon is all about supporting Four Diamonds, which is an organization up at Penn State which supports pediatric cancer and helping one day find a cure for it. So I know we go into Penn State Children's Hospital to go see the children, and of course at Penn State's Thon, which we're affiliated with. So it's millions and millions of dollars that are helping one day cure it and helping all the children out there so the parents never see a bill. And that's really, really important to us. So along with that, that was our big weekend. And so we also have Shrek coming up this weekend at the high school. It'll be at 7 o'clock on Friday and then 2:30 and 7 on Saturday. The tickets are $10 for adults and $7 for students, so I would definitely recommend coming out to see it. Students have put a lot of hard work into it. And then, as you said, the middle school had Peter Pan, and I heard it was really, really good. I didn't get to see it because of Mini-Thon, but and then the girls basketball team and swimming are still in postseason right now. The swimmers are actually going to be in districts on Friday and Saturday, and the girls basketball team will play their second district game tomorrow against West York. And then spring sports will be starting on Monday, so that's tennis, lacrosse, boys tennis, lacrosse, track. So Charlotte Nesbitt, Zette Flum, and Bryce Gavin, they were named as National Merit Finalists, so they're subject to a lot of scholarships because of this. Zette Flum has committed to attend Cornell University, and Charlotte and Bryce are still undecided. And that is the conclusion of my report.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I had the opportunity to stop in at the Mini-Thon about 9 till 10 o'clock. A lot of enthusiasm, everybody very engaged, and very attentive. Began in the gymnasium, and they had kinds of lights and entertainment going on. The stories of the three families that they bring in, Four Diamonds families, it's very, very moving. The student body really sits and listens, and school was phenomenally decorated and painted and everything else. So it was really an all-out effort of your student body, and I think to get 530 students out of 800 and some is absolutely, fantastic. Did just about everybody make it through till morning?
Yeah, of course. Everyone made it.
congratulations, it's a
Yeah.
super duper effort, and you are to be commended. Everybody was well behaved, of course, this was early in the evening, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was going on by
It was a good
2:30 or
night,
3
yeah.
o'clock in the morning, but, and they had lots of games and crafts and lots of things for them to do, so you are to be commended on your efforts. I hope that somehow the district will get some publicity for these young people, some press releases and, you know, those kinds of things, as well as for the National Merit students, the National
The
Finalists.
National Merit people are being invited to next,
The regular meeting
Gotta
in
get
March.
some written publicity, I think would be a really super idea for them too.
Where's Junior when you need
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, okay, Junior, mhm.
Yeah, he raced out for something.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You have the committee meeting schedule linked in here. Communications Committee, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Posel. The activity and communications reports are provided, and I'm happy to announce that the committee will be meeting on March 1st here with an action-packed agenda. All are welcome. Any questions?
That's a,
it's Thursday.
yeah, wasn't there a room assignment issue? Was that some another meeting?
Yeah.
Facilities, Ms. Frary.
Nothing special to report except that the minutes of the January 10th meeting are available to you. That concludes my report.
Personnel Committee, back to you, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Posel. Please note the addendum located at the end of the agenda with additional personnel items. This being a consent agenda, you have before you the personnel report, which includes leaves of absence, employment, volunteer, spring coaches, and volunteers. Would any board member like any of these items considered separately, or are there any questions on any of these items? If not, the chair moves approval of the below-mentioned items.
Second.
Discussion? Have a short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
That concludes my report.
Good, this is a big one.
Policy, Mr. Toman.
Policy Committee recommends, the revisions to the following policies as listed on the screen. That would be segment 204 on attendance, 302 employment of superintendent and assistant superintendent, 311 reduction in staff, 808 food services, and 916 volunteers.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion or questions? Okay, short.
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
Informationally, we have revisions to the following administrative guidelines, administrative guideline for 204 attendance and administrative guideline for 324 personnel files. Else to report.
I would just like to make a piggyback comment that our administrative guidelines now are also visible on our webpage when you're in the policy. As long as you toggle between policy and administrative guidelines and board docs, you can see those. The 800s and 900s are still in progress, but the rest of them are there for public view.
Lincoln Intermediate Unit report?
Nothing to report this time, and our next meeting will be the end of March.
You want to keep going? York Adams?
York Adams Academy, I have no special report, our board meeting is tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Ms. Mason, York Adams Tax Bureau.
January 29th was the meeting, and the main purpose of the meeting was for reorganization.
York County School of Technology, Schrader.
Yes, we met this week. I would encourage everybody to read the mini board report that's provided. And just a heads up, you may well be seeing in the newspaper information about the building project that is underway at the School of Technology. Building a new gym was the topic of discussion at our most recent meeting. And of course, that'll pull in with the authority in terms of the building project and also just informational.
Thank you. Yeah, the board meeting and committee schedule is linked here. And last chance, an opportunity for public comment. Going once. Okay. Thank you very much. We're done. Good night.